In each place I have traveled, I have used my camera as an extension of my memory.
In photography and in life, always look for the light. If you don't see it, bring it.
Hey, welcome to the Street Shots Photography Podcast. This is Antonio.
And this is Ward.
And this is episode 232, which happens to be the area code for Sierra Leone.
The international country code for Sierra Leone.
Well, you know, I did a search for it, and it said area code, but I know it's the international code.
Yeah.
But some way, yeah. Well, I don't think they call it, they couldn't call them an area code, right?
No, I think
area code. It's a whole country.
Yeah, they get their own country code.
Yeah, well, greetings, Sierra Leone. Hopefully there's somebody out there listening to us from there. Would love to reach out, let us know that you're there. But yeah, sorry, episode 232 for the middle of June 2025. And there goes my Evergreen account. We've just dated it, so I can't say this. Well, I was thinking that these podcasts would be evergreen, but we start dating them. And people listening, I don't want to listen to this because it's
we can date them, but the content is evergreen. The lessons we learn and we share are still good, I think.
Yes. Yeah. Well, let's keep that going. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Well, here we are. How are you, Mr.
I'm doing well. We had some nice, warm, but smoky days these days.
I've been hearing about that. Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We've actually been seeing some. Well, earlier in the week or last week, we had some Canadian haze. I think it was.
Yeah. Well, we've got our air quality index is 10 plus, which is on the bad end of the scale in terms of air quality. It's not like movie badness or whatever like that. It's not quite that bad. It's not affecting short range visibility or anything like that, but certainly visible, and you can certainly smell it out there. But yeah, I was walking the dog just before the show here, and you can definitely see it and smell it. So yeah,
that's it's wildfires again.
Yeah, wildfires about 400 miles north of here. And the wind is supposed to change direction the next couple of days and blow it back north again. So hopefully it'll clear out, but it doesn't help the people up north that are still dealing.
No.
So,
any rain in the forecast?
Not in the next 7 days. No. So yeah, you gotta figure that out and decide which fires to fight.
Yeah. As you're saying that, I'm just remembering the 2 years ago when the was it Eastern Canada fires reached all the way down East Coast, and I had never seen anything like that. Never, even when we had local fires like in New Jersey or something like that, because the prevailing winds come from west to east, and so it would happen in Jersey, and then it would come over here. But I had never seen I had never seen the sky or the environment turn that orange. It looked like the scene in Blade Runner 2049 when Ryan Gosling is Ryan Gosling is walking towards the Las Vegas scene, and it's all orange, and I was like, It's funny because I actually took a picture with the camera and I had auto white balance on, and it totally negated the orange, and I was like, oh, that just was like a foggy day. I hope it never gets like that again. I mean, that was so bad that my air purifiers kicked up on full for a while, and I actually closed the windows and could smell that fire smoke. And I just have my heart goes out to people who have to live with this all the time, or even some of the time in the year. So, but that was. I took pictures just to like,
Document
I had
it,
to,
yeah.
like I said, I documented it, but I also had to like change the white balance back to like,
Yeah.
this is what it actually looked like, So,
Yeah.
but anyway, all right. Well, good luck with that. I mean, I don't know where all the rain is. We had some pretty decent storms in the past week. Doesn't help my mood in terms of
Right.
like waking up and it's gray. So, I'm in a better mood when I'm packing than when it's sunny out. And someone said, "Well, why would that be? Because you're inside all the time. Don't you want to be inside when it's nice?" I'm like, no, it's easier when it's nicer out. It just for some reason feels like I got my energy up, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I can start packing, and but yeah, I'm packing, by the way. Yeah.
Well, I grew up in communities where rain was always welcomed. So, we get like 300 days of sun here, right? Which is fantastic. But rain is a novelty. And I have been known to just go out and walk, just go for a short
Just in the
walk
rain,
with
in the
no
rain.
windbreaker on or anything, just to get a little bit wet and cool off and so on, that kind of thing.
In
And
the sky. Yeah.
like the farmers say, it settles the dust. We need enough rain to settle the dust. Okay, we'll settle the dust. All right. So I kind of like
Actually,
that.
one of the storms that came through, I love photographing the storms. This is what I'm looking forward to when I move, just like to have some big weather visible. And like I was looking out the window and it was a kind of thunderstormy storm, but without the thunder and lightning. It was just like one of those big, heavy
A squall.
rains. And then it passed. Yeah, then it passed, and I looked at the window and I saw sun. Like I've got my shades down, so I could only see the buildings, and I could see the sun. It was late in the afternoon, so I could see the sun. I'm like, rainbow. I know it. So I get up and I go out to my terrace, and there's a rainbow. This is the first time I've ever seen it like this. It was right in front of me. In other words, I could see where the beginning and the end were.
Yeah.
There was the end, or beginning and end. Why is it beginning and end? If I go left or right, the left part was in front of a building, about a block or two away, and the right end was also in front of a building on the corner of Cortelyou and Ocean Parkway.
Oh, okay.
Like I could see it. I'll try to put those in the show notes, or I'll make it just because so all I had was my phone at the time, and I'm snapshotting, and then the clouds are moving, and the rainbow's starting to move back. I could see it actually move with the storm,
Right.
or with the clouds or something like that. I guess because as the light was changing, or as the rain was moving or something, it started to move backwards. And I'd never seen anything like that. And by the way, there is no pot of gold that I could see on either end, but I saw the ends of the rainbow.
Cool.
So I feel like I was privileged in some sense. But I took like half a dozen shots with my phone, gave it a little processing, and put it on Facebook for my neighborhood to show, because people like to see stuff that I post from my window.
Yeah.
And everybody's like freaking out. They're like, "Wow, it's like it's just it's just what I saw out the window." It's nature. I like to say that I'm just the messenger.
Yeah.
I'm just showing you what it was, but it was really spectacular. And that kind of stuff, those kind of big weather events that show a lot of ripply clouds and that light, that dark clouds with like that late afternoon light. Again, it must be this leftover thing that I've got from that Ernst Haas picture of New Mexico, and
shooting towards the dark clouds, but the sun behind you lighting.
The sun is lighting from low, and it's
Yeah.
and he's compressed and stuff like that. Like that's embedded in my psyche and my DNA now. So every time I see that, it's just I've got to photograph it. I just love looking at it. It's just
Nebraska will not disappoint you there. I'm sure you'll have plenty of opportunity to do that.
Yeah, people will probably get sick of seeing pictures. I'd be just
That's
shooting
fine.
it all
Let
the
them get
time.
sick. It's your thing. It's your thing.
Yeah. Although I can't do it right outside of where I'll be because it's a neighborhood. Like I don't have a view. It's not tall buildings.
But you don't have far to go, you see.
Well, I'll have to figure out where I can go. Like if something's going on, I can like find some open space where I can go and photograph. So I'm not photographing through trees or anything like that. So, but first world problem, right? Kind of thing.
That's right.
Yeah. So anyway, this is it. This is the last of this show coming from Brooklyn.
Kensington base signing off. Yeah.
This is Kensington base signing off. Yeah. This is where it originated too. This show originated a block and a half away in Tom's church basement, and it sounded like Tom's church basement. It wasn't
Very special acoustics.
very special acoustics. Yeah, it's two of us thinking like I knew what podcasting was like, and the stick-to-itiveness of a couple of guys from Brooklyn doing this, and yeah, so I'm thinking that I don't know what to say about that at the moment, but I'm thinking that we need to talk about Brooklyn a little bit in the show,
Okay.
and maybe dig up some photographers who have been born here.
Okay.
But I don't have any agenda for the show. This is the last one. Like I said, I'm saying living in boxes. I'm living out of boxes. Everything's going into boxes.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't packed up my equipment yet. That's kind of the last thing. I think this computer is destined for packing tomorrow, I think. I got to get it packed before the weekend because Angie and her family are coming out here to help me move. So it's the Taylor clan is on their way. They'll be here Saturday. This is what we're recording this Wednesday. So I have a couple days to put everything away in here to make room. This is the room that you stayed in my office.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to make it habitable in some way.
Again.
But
well,
yeah,
your air filters work fantastic. You have cats. I'm allergic to cats. I didn't have a problem at all, and the cats were crawling all over me. It was great. So
yeah, I'm gonna fire up one in here for a couple of days, but that does mean like my Mac and all the accoutrements and the monitors. I'm just gonna have to start working whatever work I'm gonna be doing in the next week because I'm moving in a week, or the movers are coming in a week, I should say. I'll just use my laptop, but. I've got this online game I play all the time. And I was like, can I play it on my laptop? Yeah, I don't know.
You're going to edit on your studio, or you're going to edit on your laptop? This show.
Oh, this show. Good question. Good question. I don't know. Depends on what I'm doing tomorrow morning. I might be able to edit tomorrow morning and at least get it started and stuff. But yeah, I might end up. I got to finish it before Friday, so I got a few days before we publish, right? Because April, 30 days comes September, April, June, and November.
On the
I have
11th,
to publish this on the 15th. Yeah, but I'm not gonna have any time. Anyway, that's all the making of the sausages, which people don't really need to know, although they're getting to hear this. Sorry. Yeah. So I have got to figure out. I've got enough camera bags that I'm gonna hopefully be able to put all my camera stuff, cameras like lenses and camera bodies, into actual bags. So that, but I have to figure out how much I can fit into a minivan and my car. And I've got cats, obviously, to take with me. We're shouldn't take with me, but we're all taking cats. But it's gonna be a little caravan going back from here. We're doing a 2-day drive because of my cats. Not that I don't think I could make it. I mean, there's no way I can make it in one day. And I'm not a long distance driver. I mean, in the sense of I've never done it that much. So I'm wondering about I'm curious how I'm going to be in that respect. But the cats, we're going to have to stop someplace and stay overnight, make sure they're okay, rested, and then take off the next morning. And Angie's children, grown up, by the way, are going to be taking my car, and they'll keep going. And then I think we're meeting up in Iowa City, which will be a first for me too. All these Midwestern states, and then the caravan heads off to
Lincoln. Cool.
And with luck, with everything working out, hopefully, we'll be there on Saturday, or we'll be there Friday night. But the movers arrive Saturday, so. And half my stuff goes, or maybe 2/3 of my stuff goes into storage. We'll see. And 1/3 goes into the house, which is going to make it a little crazy. So, yeah, but
it'll all settle. Should be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I have
adventure.
Adventure. Yeah, I figured that. I'm also figuring that we'll still be on for the next episode. I mean,
Okay.
I should be able to have, at least if I don't have this computer set up, I'll have a microphone and we can we can we can continue. We must continue.
It must continue. The show must go on.
The show must go on. So anyway. So I don't know. I want to hear what's going on. I got a few things to yap about in terms of photography, but I figure there's no agenda, and people want to hear what's going on with my adventures. Let's hear what's going on with you.
What's going on with me? Let's see. Not much. I went to a couple of photographic experiences here in the last couple of weekends.
Let's hear them.
Went to the Hand Hills Lake Stampede, not this past weekend, but the weekend. This is the one that the book that Mark and I created. So this was their 107th version of the rodeo. Mm-hmm. I did take my Fuji gear, but I concentrated on using the twin lens on that Rolleicord twin lens and shot 2.5 rolls of film. 120 film. So I won't have anything to look at or talk about for a couple of weeks. I want to finish this third roll. I think my son and I are going to go do a photo walk somewhere, maybe next weekend. I don't know, whenever. And take 3 rolls to the lab and have them developed. And that takes a couple of weeks to get that over with. And then, what else? Oh, I went to a wedding here this past Saturday, not knowing that I would be the ace photographer, sort of semi-pro guy.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Really?
So
what had happened? What happened?
It was a terrible misunderstanding. From my part, mostly. My wife asked me, because it's a coworker is the bride. Marcy's coworker is the bride. And she asked if I would just take a few pictures or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, fine. I'll do that. I'll just bring my XS20 and put the 23 on it. And I'll do a couple of courtesy pictures, maybe be a little bit streety and, whatever, just hand them, a couple of JPEGs or whatever. Yeah. Well, no. There was a pro that came and just did formals and a few things during the actual wedding service itself, and then left. And then the MC of the event was saying...
Wait. Hang on a second. Let me understand this. They hired a photographer, a pro who did formal pictures, and then left after the formals?
Yes, left after the formals, and this would have been after the wedding, but before the reception/dinner.
So as you're picking your jaw up off the floor, you're wondering, what have I gotten into, kind of thing?
I didn't wonder that until the MC was saying, everyone go outside for the big group picture. And I'm thinking, oh, well, I'll go out there and whatever. And the pro will take the picture and, I'll stand out. There's maybe 60 of us all together. It was in a yacht club, which, how does Calgary have a yacht club? We're landlocked, right? But there's a big reservoir. There's a big reservoir for the city, right? That's dams up the river, right? And I didn't know. I learned that it's the highest yacht club in Canada or something. I think it's 3,300 feet above sea level.
Not in distance and not in
high.
Everybody's smoking something.
It is legal here. So, but it's 3,300 or 3,400 feet above sea level. It's the highest kind of lake yacht club thing. So whatever. Lovely venue. Is perfect for this. But anyway, so this big group picture, and then the groom's like, "So are you ready?" Am I ready? What? To take the group picture? And then I'm like, I could be. He says, "Are you just finding out this now?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "So how do you want this arranged?" Okay, reset. Okay, now it's starting to sink in. Right, and there's a big area where the only place I could really stand, there was a really strong shadow gashing across the frame.
Oh my gosh.
Because we're getting close to sunset. It's 6 p.m. We're 3.5 hours from sunset, actually. But the sun is low enough that there are these big trees and stuff in the kind of this area, relatively close to the lake, but not really. But anyway, so I'm like, okay, well, we're going to have to make this work and, fix it in post. I'm crossing my fingers. So I've got the 23. I can't get high enough or far enough back. So I just went up on the deck of the yacht club and stood on the railing where the seats are and just had everyone form. And I was remembering that picture of the book Saskatchewan that I gave you when I came to visit. Remember, the photographer solved the problem of a large group that wouldn't fit in the frame by putting everybody at an angle.
Right.
So it was sort of like that, but my wife had the idea of putting sort of folks into kind of a semicircle, and it was an interesting composition, and folks were getting kind of hard to wrangle. So I did my best. I fired off a few shots, and the picture's okay. It was meant to be kind of informal anyway, and I couldn't get people into deeper ranks or anything to what make it interesting. There was a older gentleman who was very tall. He was like 6'6". He was in his 70s, and he was in a green suit, like a hunter green suit. And he decided to lie down in front of the group. Like Burt Reynolds in Cosmo magazine, right?
Oh, really?
It's like, well, we got to take this. And it was informal. I mean, it was not, no one was expecting the fancy formal whatever. So I'm just trying to take in the energy, and people were, trying to do their best. And I didn't want to take too much of their time. So I'm just trying to make sure everyone's looking, and there was, a couple of toddlers, there, and we're waiting for them to look towards the camera, and fired off 15 frames, bang, 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 just to see if I could get everybody to sort of make it work. And I think it did. And it wasn't too hard to in post to correct. But anyway, so that was one thing. And then we're having dinner, and it was very the couple was older, in their 30s, and I think he's 40 or around 40 years old. So there was not kind of how do I put it? There wasn't a lot of pretense. It was it's very informal. There were no gifts. We're just here to celebrate, and that's it. And so there was no real tension. Sometimes you get into a wedding and things are very, everyone seems to have some kind of expectations. They didn't. So in that way, it was kind of perfect for me, because I don't thrive, or I just don't like it in those circumstances. One of the reasons why I gave up wedding photography 30 plus years ago, because I just can't. So I'm just shooting from where I'm sitting in my banquet table, and then the bride and groom kiss, and there's a mother and a son, a teenage son looking at her mother closer into the, closer to me in the frame in the adjoining table. And there are these two kinds of love going on in the same frame. I'm like, okay, now I'm starting to feel it. In Japan, it helped a lot, because it was like, you see something, get it, right? So I took on this kind of street aesthetic, and it's funny when people kind of get that you're the photographer, you get these suggestions.
Well, sorry to interject. One of the things I say in my, there's a quote from Mary Ellen Mark, says, if you could shoot on the street, you can shoot anywhere.
Yeah.
you shoot on the street, you can shoot anything.
Yeah.
And I take that as I use that. I don't know what she exactly meant by that. I mean, but I take it as, to be able to shoot well on streets, you can then translate that to a lot of other kinds of photography. And wedding seems to be like a perfect,
Well, and I would say, because it's been so long since I shot a wedding, people just arrange themselves in pleasing. I think of people on the train platform on the street, right? They just arrange themselves in interesting compositions, right? Just there's these 3 people standing here, and then 2 here, and then 4 over here, and they're all pleasingly arranged, right? And the metaphor I used after about an hour and a half in was this is like shooting fish in a barrel. Everyone is kind of standing, and they're waiting to go to the bar, or they're standing in a little whatever group to talk, and then they know they're being photographed, and some are kind of embarrassed or don't really want their picture taken or whatever. And then I could just I can just shoot from the hip like usual, and they have no idea. So it ended up being quite satisfying, and I did stick to my street aesthetic. Yes, there were formal pictures, the one lady, she's tapping me on the shoulder. The sun's very beautiful. It's going to set in this forest fire smoke. It was very, very orange sky, and the sun was not too bright, right? It was obscured by the smoke. So we should go out now and take pictures. And I'm like, I'd already done the calculation. Like, well, the sun's going to set at 9:47 in the 9:47 p.m. So I want to go out 15 or 20 minutes before the sun sets so that it's low enough in the sky that it can be in the frame if I want it to be in the frame to do these kind of casual portraits. And I was thinking of it in color on her. So she didn't really like that. But anyway, I did go out and we did take some pictures. And so part of it was I have a 23 millimeter lens. It is not a portrait lens. And I have the XS20 has this tiny half chiclet sized flip up flash. That's all I had.
Oh, it's got the flip up.
It's got a flip up flash. Yeah. So it's like guide number 8 or 6. Like, not much.
You might as well. You'd be better off using a lighter
or my phone light. For I think if I hadn't, if I hadn't, I might have thought of that eventually using the light on my phone to do the catch lights in the eyes. So I did have to be close enough for them to kind of fill the frame and like a middle of the chest up kind of heads together portrait with the sky in the background and the setting sun for the bride and groom image. And then there wasn't actually much post I had to do with those. I did darken the sky a little bit, and then I changed the temperature of the sky down a little bit so that it looked like what I remembered the color being. And there was enough ambient behind me, and the sky was still it was still like a neutral neutral white balance, and so I didn't have to adjust the white balance on the image at all. Beyond the masking that I did for the sky, and it worked out pretty well.
The shots that you showed me looked really nice, and I asked you when you put them on our Discord group. I asked you if you had used flash, and you did. You said you had that little flash on, but the pictures didn't look flashed to me. I could see the little light. Yeah. I could see the little light in their eyes, so there was a little bit of a glint in there.
That's all that flash can do.
Yeah, but it filled in a little bit,
just a little. Yeah,
it almost looks like it looked like it was diffused light as well. Like that's why I asked you if there was a diffuser over the flash. There was something really nice about that. So
I do have a Godox, like a big Godox flash, and I've got that. It looks like it's a white rubber, and it looks like a old style backdoor light, like you'd see on someone's backyard, the big globe like that fits over it, a dome kind of a thing, And I could use that.
As a side note, there was a guy, I can't remember his name now. Was it Gary Fong? You remember him?
No,
was that the guy?
Doesn't ring a bell.
He created, I think that's the name of this guy who invented, this domey kind of thing that you put on your speed light, and he designed it in such a way that you would get the same kind of light when you rotated your camera vertically, and then you would rotate the strobe
up
back in sort of the opposite direction, but you would get the same kind of light. And I looked at this thing for a while. I have got a couple of them, and they work very well. I can't remember how much you spent. How much this cost, but I was looking at it and I was like, that. You know what that kind of looks like? It looks like a deli container.
Yeah, no, and I've seen them. I've seen ones like that. It's like a butter container. It's the kind of semi-opaque white plastic.
Yeah, but it looked like an actual deli container. So you know what I did once? I actually carved the bottom off of a deli container, which is not very easy to do, and it's not very accurate because that plastic is kind of a harder plastic.
You're gonna cut yourself.
But I did it just for blank and giggles, I'll say.
Yeah.
And I stuck it on there. The only thing I couldn't have was the round dome on top, right? But I just used the container lid, and I used one of those quart size deli containers, not the pint size. So it was kind of tall, and it looked really, I don't
Frankenstein.
know. Frankenstein, but I'm thinking more like, what's the word? I can't think of. There's a really wonky is the word, maybe
convoluted.
skeevy name. There's another skeevy word
Rube
for
Goldberg. I don't know.
No, I mean like I want to not say skanky or something like that, but it looked really janky.
Sketchy.
Janky.
Janky. Okay, janky.
Janky. Not skanky. Sorry. Oh no. All right. Anyway, but I took a shot with it, and it was the same kind of light. Now, of course, a lot of the light gets bounced backwards as well.
Yeah.
But as a diffuser, in a pinch, if you have a speed light and you don't have a diffuser, go find a deli container, and this is why you should carry with you a pocket knife all the time, or put it in your bag, because like a Swiss Army knife, the jack of all trades kind of thing. Cut that bottom off and, glue it on or whatever you have to do to the flash, and you'll get a really nice diffused light. And it doesn't have any color shift to it. Anyway, sorry, I wanted to
that's fine.
throw that in there. That's a pro tip, by the way.
But anyway, so and I had my wife when we were talking over dinner tonight about, because I was kind of deflated and whatever, angry about the whole experience of kind of being roped into doing this wedding or whatever. And they're fine. They're lovely people. Like, I'd be happy to do it for them. It was just the way it was presented to me was not the greatest. So,
didn't you know you're the photographer?
Yeah.
Are you thinking to yourself,
I just did my thing.
Would you think to yourself, like, what if I didn't bring my camera with me? Like,
well, then I'd be using the phone, and we would have been having this discussion. It would have been something else.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I got some really interesting pictures, and so now it's sort of like, and I'm not when I sent the link to the album to the bride, I said, please don't advertise this. Send this to as many friends as you want for your own, and you're happy to share it on social media and stuff, but just tell anyone who might be interested, I don't shoot weddings. I don't. This was fun, but no.
I have a lot of respect for photographers who shoot weddings. I mean, I've done a handful, and it is not my cup of tea at all. Although, like, I think what you're saying is that there's some end results when I look at them, especially if I've done kind of what you did, like on the dance floor or something like that. Like, I agree, it all presents itself, and even like during the ceremony and stuff, if I was done some really interesting takes on it, the pictures end up being personally satisfying. I look at them, I go, oh, that's actually a really nice photograph,
Yeah, there's a formal aspect to it that translates really well to the arty part of it.
Yeah, it definitely. But to have that responsibility, no, not these days. No way. And you hear all the nightmares on Petapixel and F-stoppers or whatever stories about photographers being sued by this, that, and the other thing, or things that just go wrong. And it's just like, and those are events that, are very important to some people, and you can't make it up, and there's none, there's no reshoots and stuff like that. And no, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to be roped into it. I prefer to be the second or third shooter, kind of thing. I always thought about maybe starting up you could start up a wedding company where the owner, like me, would be the third shooter, and the other people would be the ones. But like my work would be the stuff that I would go in there with my phone and shoot with Hipstamatic, and those are the pictures that like. You're going to get these pictures. You're going to get the formal pictures because these guys are going to take care of their formal pictures. I ain't doing that. You're going to get the good stuff, and then that's what you hire me for. You hire me for all the stuff that I can do with my phone. I would probably photograph with my phone because that way I would just look like another guest. So I wouldn't get that kind of, staged kind of look or something like that. I would just do stuff very informally. But even that,
Yeah. Well, I was thinking when I was like kind of revving up the creativity, okay, what exactly am I going to do? I was thinking of my influences. One was Steve Mullins, who was the guy who was doing the documentary style black and white photography. He and Neil James do the Fujicast. which I enjoy a great deal. And Steve just retired.
Or
I think it's is it Steve?
no, it's not Steve.
Oh, sorry, Mullins.
No.
What's it, Mr. Mullins? I'm sorry, Mr. Mullins. Kevin, and Steve, the two guys on the basketball team. I'm sorry. So
Kevin and Neil.
Kevin and Neil. Thank you. Thanks for correcting me.
I think yes, yeah. There you go.
Maybe I knew a Steve Mullins growing up. It sounds familiar. Anyway, so he does this wonderful documentary style. His is very sharp, though. Like his images are very kind of formal, black and white, wonderful pictures taken mostly with the X100, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So there was that, and then there were those pictures of your old wedding from your friend that you were showing me pictures of from Mel, yeah. And there was that kind of open, informal aspect that I really love about those. And they're of a time, those pictures. Right, and then I also knew that that they wanted something that was going to be sort of formal, like the sunset pictures and so on. So I could just bring it a little bit there and do the flash calculations, all that kind of stuff. So I didn't feel, and it's funny because as I was doing a little bit of chimping and doing some adjustments and turning, the dynamic range off and making these little adjustments as the evening went on, that sort of like, this is kind of the perfect venue for the kind of what I eventually had in mind. And I'm thankful that I had, just about 2 weeks in Japan and the Stampede before, which was very slowed down and twin lens. And I'm trying to shoot action on the twin lens of barrel racing, which is where a horse running at full gallop, going the wrong way, like it was like, so it was this whole kind of having to bring it, trying to. And we'll see when I get the negatives back, we'll see exactly what I caught. But there was that whole kind of, that stuff was still ringing in my ears when I started doing this wedding. And so I felt like I did what I could do. And I feel satisfied about the results.
So the overall experience, even though the up and down of being talked,
yeah,
like in the end, you look back and you're like, oh, you're glad you did it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm proud of being able to squeeze out what I could without all the equipment that I would normally do to cover a wedding, which my camera bag has everything I would need to cover a wedding. Not that I would, but I could.
Right.
But
how did the Success 20 work out?
Good. The autofocus is much better in lower light than my XC3s, like way better.
Really? And the 23 as a format, I mean, you got
23 is my jam, right? So that I have no problem. I know it's sharp enough, and I knew there were going to be some pictures I was going to crop. Like there's
and it doesn't distort facial features that much. No, it's not that bad.
A little bit if you're on the very edge of the frame.
Yeah,
there's one picture I've got of a group of people dancing, and the one woman, she's kind of stretched a little bit. She's in the very corner of the frame.
Yeah, but it's a reasonable focal length for that,
Yeah.
So,
and the venue wasn't too small. Like I felt like I needed wider. There was room to back up if I needed to back up. And
actually, I'm curious. Would you have thought about or tried the feature in the camera to do a panoramic shot of the group shot, like
a scan?
It's kind of a wonky.
Yeah, yeah,
It's kind of a wonky thing, but I know we can do it. I mean, I'm assuming that the newer cameras are slightly better at doing that, but I mean, you can do it with the XS20 because all Fujis have that capability, right?
Well, if it's the scan, like the pan and scan kind of, I don't know, because the crowd or the group was very dynamic. They're moving a lot.
And they're moving, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I could letterbox the frame that I did get,
I see.
And everyone fit in fairly well. I mean, it was a little tight on either side. Yeah. I would not have thought of that. Trying to think of what other features on the camera.
They'd have to stand still. Otherwise, you get someone who's like, their face is over here and then their face is over there.
Yeah.
And
the little ones climbing over their parents, like it would have.
They look like caterpillars after a while, right?
Yeah.
Or dachshunds, and their bodies are stretched across the frame. Yeah. All right. Well, okay. nice that you were able to roll with it. And you think you got any pictures that you would want to keep like in a portfolio, like one or two? Not to say that you're a wedding photographer, but just they're nice shots, kind of thing. Or just
yeah, I there's some personally on a portfolio. I don't know. It would be public. I'd make them public. I mean, we could use one or two of them for show notes or whatever if you want. But I was just thinking a couple. There's a picture of a young woman, a teenage girl, and her mother standing in line waiting for the bar, and the sunset light is coming through the window and kind of blasting on them, and the young woman is smaller in the background, and she's lit fairly strongly, and then the mom, she has a bit of catch light, like ambient light on her hair, and then she's lit a little bit less than her daughter, and it descends into darkness, like self-vignetting kind of combination. Man, that just jumped out at me. Like, I got to get that. And that's more art than formal, combination of street and art kind of thing. That it was like a formal, like a painter's lighting kind of thing.
Okay, we're back. And for those of you who want to know how the sausages are made, we use this app called Squadcast, and it literally just crashed on both of us. And yeah, we're right in the middle. Hopefully, it's like right in the. You were done with your.
I was done. I was
stories.
just, then this happened, then that happened. So yeah.
Okay, so let's wedding photography. Not your thing, but you're happy with what you got.
I was happy with what I got. It was, if I had to do it, that was the perfect environment to do it. So
yeah. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So a couple of things I wanted to say. Well, I to go back into the gear thing, right? I saw that the Fuji's coming out with, or is probably coming out with their new XE5. Is that the right number?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it looks like it's priced pretty high.
I didn't see.
Yeah, it was enough that I looked at it and I was like, oh, I wouldn't mind that. I was like, probably not. It's $1,700. That's probably including the tariffs, at least on our end. Right. I don't know about you guys, but and I heard news that Fuji was moving some of their manufacturing back to Japan because of the tariffs being less than the China tariffs. So I don't know if that's what the price was I'm seeing, but I would wonder if that you guys in Canada would have that same price, and even if that is the price. I mean, so far the thing hasn't come out yet, but
yeah.
But the rumors lately have been pretty, about things have been pretty accurate. So
yeah,
I don't know. But is that something that you're considering?
40 megapixel, and it's got a flip out display. There's some talk about right? It has a EVF,
electronic viewfinder. Yeah.
So, does this mean I have to buy new lenses to, work with the 40 megapixel sensor? I don't know. I'll have to feel it in my hand, and maybe sell some of my gear.
Yeah.
I don't need two XE3s. If I'm going to have two XE3s and XE5, maybe I demote one of my XE3s to the second one to put the wide angle on, and then have an XE5 as my main shooter. We'll see. I don't know.
And they said that it might have image stabilization in it, I think.
Oh, that would be interesting. But yeah,
I don't know if that's the case. I mean, I don't know if that's real, because that would make the camera a little bit thicker in size. But
yeah,
it seems like a lot of the Fuji cameras that come out with the 40 megapixel sensors seem to need to have the image stabilization.
Right.
Inside. Well, maybe not. Hang on a second. Does the XT5? Sorry, we're excuse us here. We're Fujiing out a little bit. For those of you, we're not meaning to like exclude everybody out here, but we're both Fuji people, right? And so what the heck? But I don't know if the XT5 has got if it's got image stabilization. I'll have to check. So, but I was thinking all the 40 megapixel sensors
I
might
think
have
they
to have
do.
that just because of the bigger sensors. So,
Yeah.
so that would mean that the XT5's body will have to be a little thicker, just because it would have to be able to hold that. Anyway, okay, sorry, we're geeking out.
All good.
Yeah, but I am waiting. Like I said, I put the order in for that new half frame Fuji camera, and I don't care how long it takes. Like it's fine that it's. I haven't gotten it yet, and I haven't gotten an indication that it's even, in the system or shipping. So it'll be like some surprise that we'll get like in 6 months or something,
Right.
whatever. But I did my photographic, in a way, my photographic experiences since our last show were using my Polaroid cameras a lot more. And in fact, I bought 5 packs of film for the trip from here to Nebraska. I'm not sure how much of that will be practically I'll use,
Right.
but I also have my Instax camera, so I think it's going to be an all instant, well, maybe not all, but an instant photography road trip, and we'll see how that goes. I mean, but I want to do that. I figure, again, the artifactiness of it and the time that it was. In fact, I did. I went and visited my wife's grave at Sleepy Hollow Cemetery, and I brought my Polaroid camera, my higher end one. I can't remember the name of it now, but it was their higher end one that is
I4, ID4, something like that.
I can't remember. All of a sudden, it's sitting on the shelf behind me, but I'm not going to get up and look at it. And I did a selfie of it just to sort of put myself in the place. And the picture that I shot with it, hang on, I don't know if I can show it to you. It's in this mix, but because it's essentially a large format camera, right? Or I mean, I'm going to say large format. It's like a medium format camera because the image size is, I don't know, what is it?
3 inches by 3 inches.
3 by 3, yeah.
Yeah.
So it I don't know if you can be able to see this on. I don't know if it's blurred out.
Oh yeah, no, it's really you're really separated from the background. It's great.
Yeah, so it is the first time I've ever seen a Polaroid do that much separation, and it's not. It almost looks fake. It almost looks like I blurred the background out using Photoshop or something like that, but it's not. It's optical. And I thought, okay, well that's really cool. That on a Polaroid it can get a shot like that, but that's under bright conditions. It was outdoors. It couldn't be brighter. I had my polarizing filter. My variable neutral density filter on it because the film speed is 640, I think.
Right.
And the minimum aperture on that is f8, and so that actually throws things for a loop. And I think the highest shutter speed. So there are some factors in there that make it a little bit difficult, but I kind of like that. I kind of like that there was there's a bit of manual photography involved in that, trying to figure out stuff. But again, I dig instant pictures. While I've been packing, I've been finding a lot of old pictures, and a lot of my first pictures were Polaroid pictures, where they were color peel away shots. And I did watch, I don't know if it was between our shows, but I did watch this documentary. It was about the Polaroid.
Yeah.
Did we talk about that show?
I don't know if we did, but I watched it too. I watched for our closest PBS station is in Spokane, Washington.
Yeah, it's on PBS. Yeah.
American Masters.
I don't know how long it's going to be on I don't know how long it's going to be on YouTube because I watched it on YouTube. If it is still on there, I'll put a link to it. But I would suggest anybody into photography watch this documentary about what's his name,
Edwin Land. Yeah.
Edwin Land. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of parallels to like people that now. You could just tell as I was watching that Steve Jobs probably idolized him.
Yeah.
In some way, because he certainly patterned himself after that. But the engineering behind Polaroid, but what really I found intriguing, what was great about that documentary were the actual photographs that they were showing. They were spectacular, and they had given cameras to a lot of the employees because they were going around testing the films and trying to make sure they had how could they improve. And so some of the top engineers were walking around with cameras and taking self-portraits or stuff like that. And they were fantastic. I don't know what you thought about it.
Oh, I thought the same thing.
Were,
when you were talking about, when we were just talking about that picture you took, that selfie that you took in the separation of the background. Well, imagine those original Model 95s that had the bellows on them. When you focus those, it's essentially a view camera. You've got like a
view
field
camera. Yeah.
It's huge, and they're what, 3.25 by 4.5 or something. That original
the prints,
yeah. And then would have loved to have lived in that era and hopefully been able to afford Polaroid film, but
yeah, that's true.
They were so good.
But they were really good, and I think what is always cool is that the people were only testing it. I mean, I don't know how much creativity they were putting in when they're testing it, but when you look back at these pictures, like you look at them and I'm thinking like these people knew what they were like. They knew how to take photographs, you know? And it was just something really nice about it. So anyway, watch this if you can see it. What's the show called?
American Masters. Yeah. American Masters.
It was American Masters?
Yeah. They did a thing on Winogrand 3 or 4 years ago too, which is one of my favorite documentaries about a photographer.
I might have seen that. Yeah. Anyway, anyway. So I think that's going to be one of my things that I do when I get there. I don't know how I leverage instant photography into some business that I can do there, but I think I'll do that. And one of the things I have also is Polaroid has got a printer which uses the Polaroid film, and essentially you take a picture from your phone and you put it on top, and it brightens up the phone and then records the image onto Polaroid film. So I've done a few of those, and that's not, I would say, I don't know if it's cheating. Maybe it is, because maybe it's not. I don't know. It's an actually interesting thing to think about, because I'm taking a picture from my phone and then creating a Polaroid of it. So the artifact is of the moment that I'm doing that, but the picture could have been from any time period. Mm-hmm. But that being said, it's still a cool object.
Right.
Like Polaroid has been coming out with all these different bordered colored films, and they're actually kind of hard to find because their website seems to be like they're out of stock on everything. So I was shooting this, I think this film was expired by 2 years, and I've had it in my fridge, but it's got these different color borders, but they're really nice. And then if you put the right picture on it, it itself makes a nice object. So as a printer, to take that and make objects and then either give them away or sell them or use them as part of your, repertoire of stuff that you were able to offer to somebody, it seems like, I don't know, it seemed pretty cool, and I would bet maybe a lot of people who are not aficionados of instant photography may not care too much about the artifactiness that the picture ought to be taken at the time. I mean, the print should be made from the time that it was taken, as a record of the moment. But if you have an image that's printed on Polaroid film, so it's got all the, the bells and whistles of a piece of Polaroid paper, or whatever you want to call it, Polaroid print. So, but I was surprised at how good this printer is. I mean, it's so weird because you put the phone on top of it, and it's got to line up all these dots, and then you put it on there, and then it brightens up the photograph, it brightens up the screen automatically so that it exposes the film quietly, and then it spits it out, and you do the same thing. You hide it in something dark because it needs like 10 minutes to process. And the thing is really nice because it comes out really sharp. So, but just don't pass them off as like Polaroids that you took with a Polaroid camera, So, but anyway, I was saying that during the week, this is not directly photography related, but my friend hired me we did a shoot out in Scarsdale, New York, which is just upstate. I hate to say upstate, it's like an hour's drive from the city, right? So it's a commuter distance. And she does these movies, documentaries with the Scarsdale Historical Society. So she knows she was brought up there, and she knows everything about the history of that. But it's really interesting history into itself, like the Gilded Age time period, and like all the stuff that the industrial stuff that happened there and the changeover and stuff like that. But I was using my Fuji cameras as video cameras. And they, I don't know if anybody is thinking about getting video cameras or Fuji cameras, something like that. And again, we're Fuji biased here. That being said, they are really, really good video cameras.
Yeah.
And I was shooting with, what was I shooting with? I was shooting with, have you heard of the Atomos Ninja 5? It's
The display. Yeah.
display, but it also has a recorder on it,
Mhm.
and so you can record directly onto it. So I was using my what is it, the XH2S
Okay.
as my main camera, but I was also using my XM5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a little one.
XM5 as a secondary camera. That was a secondary camera, and I want to put thumbs up for that. For if anybody wants to get into the Fuji ecosystem, the XM5 is a very inexpensive camera to get into the system, and it performed splendidly. It doesn't have optical stable. It doesn't have stabilization. It's got digital stabilization on it. So if you're trying to do handheld shots with it, it's a little weird, but it's got the same little screws in the back for putting a fan on.
Right.
So if you need to cool the sensor, you can actually use the same fan as its bigger brother camera, or even I know the XS20 has those too as well.
Mhm.
It's got that little thing in the back for the fan. So these two cameras, the kit that I had was relatively small,
Hmm.
and the XM5, sorry, I get really with these numbers. XM5 also has the ability to feed out to a recorder. So you can actually you can take this little camera and you could mock it up to looking like this rig that looks like it would be professional, with this monitor on top, and then record off in, I don't think it does raw footage, but anyway, that being said, I think the Fuji cameras tend to be a really nice option for hybrid shooters. If you're going to be doing photography and video, certainly really good at photography. But I really like, actually, one of the things she hires me for, because she likes the Fuji look, because often I don't film in raw, right? This is just not, you can you can film in raw when it's going out to or in log also. You can,
Right.
when you're going out
F-log.
to
Yeah.
you can F log or something like that. And she does not want to do a lot of post processing color wise, right? And so I set up a film simulation, and again, it does limit you in terms of doing some post production and stuff. And she's had other camera operators give her film video to her in log, and she's got to do all the coloring herself.
Grading. Yeah.
Yeah, but it adds to her workflow. And the thing that she likes about the Fuji is, I don't know how many film simulations we've got now, but I'm picking shoot, I can't remember what I was using. Reala Ace, was that it? And it's a nice balanced film, and I'm tweaking a little bit of the stuff behind the scenes. I'm making it a little bit flatter so I can pick up some more shadow detail and some highlight detail. And I figure she can just crunch it down with contrast, right, if she needs to. But she doesn't have to add any kind of coloration to it or something like that. And again, we're just doing sort of a documentary work. This may not be perfect for everything,
Right.
but it's a nice workflow, because I just give her these files, and then she's just putting it together. Then she doesn't have to worry about, but the cameras matched really nicely. It was nice to see two cameras that were they have different sensors, but the colors were matching really nicely. So anyway, that's my photographic thing. And the other thing I'm taking pictures of is all my boxes of stuff. Like every time I pack a box, I have to take a picture of it, so I've got a record of it. But basically I'm just wrapping up stuff. Stuff is going into bins, and I'm trying to figure out what cameras to leave out other than the Polaroids. Like I probably will have I'm thinking my X100 will be, a camera that I bring on the trip with me that I don't box up or something like that.
Right.
So that I just have a couple of digital things with me, or maybe just one. And, when it's appropriate to record. But I am thinking about what it is going to be like to be on the other end. What kind of work I'm going to do when I get there, And I do have a fantasy of firing up my 4x5 camera again. I don't know how much the film is for 4x5. Probably a few bucks per sheet.
Cheaper than 8x10.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah,
the 8x10 field camera, you're kind of, oh well.
An 8x10 field camera, yeah, I couldn't even. The lens for that would just be too much.
210 millimeters, sure. We'll start there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what I've got. I've got a Toyo field camera here. I mean, not field camera, Toyo 4x5
rail.
And I'm not. Huh?
It's on a rail. Yeah.
I think it's on a rail. It must be. And I think there's something wonky about the lens, but it's been sitting there in a box for I don't know how many years, and I bought it off of a friend. But I probably mentioned this from Lomography. I bought the Instax back for the 4x5 cameras, and I think I could use it on that 4x5 camera too, because it's got the same kind of locking mechanism. So I think when I'm going to get there, I'm going to kind of investigate larger format stuff, whether it's with film. And again, of course, I'm now picking to move out to the Midwest to play with film, because here in New York, I could get film developed, probably not that far away. And like, oh yeah, so I moved to the middle of the country, and then suddenly I want to get involved with film, and like, there's probably, well, I don't know. I don't know if there's a place in I mean, maybe I'll get lucky. There's a place in Nebraska. If anybody knows about a place in Nebraska that I can develop film, let me know. I'm sure I can just Google it, but I want to engage you guys. You guys do the work for me. but
crowdsource an answer.
Crowdsourcing is, yeah. I used to like shooting with 4x5 when I was doing it in school and stuff like that, and I got really used to the swings and tilts and the upside downness of stuff, and putting that the curtain over whatever, over the tarp. What do we call it?
Shroud
over our heads.
I don't know.
Shroud, yeah. And then pinching it too, so that the bottom, the light from the underneath you doesn't come through. So it looks pretty cool. But I thought, like, boy, I could set myself up and look like a real old time photographer there. People are like, what are you doing? It's like, I'm using a camera, So I don't know. I think I'll play with it, but we'll see. And I'm also thinking more medium format stuff too while I'm there. So actually, I'm wondering if I might. I mean, yes, I have so many cameras because I don't sell them, and I'm thinking I should probably start getting rid of some of the smaller cameras when I get there. So if anybody's interested in Fuji cameras, let me know. I'll see what we got. But I'm not getting rid of my X100. Street photography is not a thing. So what else is going to say about that? I cannot remember. Done. I
think we're done.
I think I'm done. I think there was one more thing I wanted to mention about my stuff, and I can't remember it. But anyway, yeah, we'll pick this up when I get back from. Actually, I'm surprised. I didn't hear any cars or sirens. Did you? Yeah.
Nope.
It's like it chooses the last night for. There was one moment when there was Mr. Softy driving around, and I muted it, but he was far away. But I haven't heard any loud. Of course, once I say that, it'll happen. I haven't heard loud motorcycles or cars or sirens going by during this.
Well, we're close to a little four-way stop intersection here, and it gets pretty noisy, especially time this year.
I've never heard anything. I've never heard anything on your end. I've only heard the water coming in from the ceiling.
Wow. Yeah.
Something. But yeah, I'm gonna have to. I don't know. This is gonna be a whole new adventure.
I think it'll be great.
Now I'm just concerned. Yeah, right now I'm just concerned with getting everything in boxes. Mm-hmm. At this point, I'm really just shoving stuff into Ziploc bags, putting some bubble wrap around it, closing it up, and saying "office" on it, or or storage.
See on the other side. Yeah,
I'll figure out what's on there. But yeah, it is. Packing is something that I'm going to say is not a fun thing. I not recommended. Not recommended. Don't do it too many times. You really get to see how much stuff that is important and how much stuff isn't. And like what has been sitting on shelves for a long time that has so much dust on it. I was like, well, if it's got that much dust on it, it means I haven't used it in a while. It's like, do I really need it anymore? So yeah, it really is a observation of one's life in terms of having to pick things up and figure out what you want to keep and what you want to move and where you have to, what's important to have near me and what's not important to have near me.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've been finding a lot of old pictures, and I'm really gonna, from your suggestion from the last episode, was it the last one we were talking about, or was it the previous one?
I don't know.
Taking the old pictures and doing something with them. All these unknown photographs and doing something with them. So, yeah. And just to finish up, I've got one final class in a couple days at the Brooklyn Public Library, and it's the photo journaling class of all classes. And I didn't cancel it because I thought it's only a 2-hour class and it shouldn't affect me too much in terms of my, getting stuff done. But I thought it was a nice class to finish up with. So, it's getting people involved with pens and gluing pictures into books and hopefully being very hands-on and stuff like that. And that would be a kind of class I hope I can do when I get out to Lincoln. So we'll see. But that being said, let's wrap it up from Brooklyn. Oh, wait, didn't we want to? We don't even have time. We've been talking for how long now? I looked up all these photographers who are originally from Brooklyn. And I don't know if we have time to talk about it, but should we
We can do a retrospective, maybe. We'll look up, famous photographers from Lincoln and compare and contrast.
Maybe we'll do that for the next episode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're on time already, I think. So
yeah.
Good. Yeah. Well, one thing that I want to do is find out. Let me just see this for a second, and I just need to copy and paste something so we can read it. But we got to figure out where we are on the interwebs and internets and stuff. So
I got mine ready to go. So I just
go ahead. Well, where are we?
Well, you can find me on Vero, Twitter, and Blue Sky at wrosenphoto. On Instagram, I'm at Ward Rosen Fine Art. On Facebook, I'm Ward Rosen Photo. My photography website is rosen.ca, and that's where you can find me. So once Antonio has copied and pasted, where can we find you, my friend?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm looking at it. Yeah, Blue Sky is AM Rosario, Instagram, AM Rosario Photo. My website, I'm probably going to change when I get there, but I'll change the design of it, but it's amrosario.com. It's probably not working so well. And I'm going to put up new pictures and stuff. But why don't you subscribe to our Substack newsletter? Hey, someone owes us an article.
I know.
We're waiting. How many episodes have we talked about this?
2 paragraphs.
What are you waiting for?
Yeah.
I thought you already had one written. Anyway.
I have one, but was that we were talking about one subject and I've gone back to another subject. So we'll do that.
Yeah,
one.
okay. Well, anyway, yeah. Don't wait for Ward to subscribe to our Substack. Sorry, bust your job.
By the way, I thank everyone for. We're getting more subscriptions. Like, it's amazing. More subscribers.
Yes.
It seems like a few times a week we're picking up folks. So yes,
Substack
I will do it.
It just seems like a great space for photographers, and I'm sure it's a great space for a lot of other people. For us as well, it's a nice. I don't know. It just feels very intimate and stuff. So yeah, subscribe to our Substack newsletter at streetshots.substack.com. And if you like it, share the articles with other people. We just want to get more people into our little ecosystem here. That'd be kind of fun. And I've got some ideas. Once I actually get to Nebraska, I think I've got concepts of plans. So sorry. And anyway, if you want to support the show, also you can support us by buying us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Antonio Rosario. So yeah, that's it. It's gonna be signing off from Brooklyn, and the next stop is Lincoln, Nebraska. Pretty much almost dead center of the United States, or at least as dead center as I'm gonna be. So
cool.
Well, cool. No, hot. It's going to be hot there.
It's hot and humid, and be careful of the chiggers.
Chiggers? What is that?
They're little mite-like creatures that are in the long grass. You go in and you gotta check yourself before you go back into the house. Make sure you don't have anything attached to your skin. So
Oh, great.
Enjoy.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's just it's an occupational hazard out there. It's all good. It's fine. It's only 9 months of the year. It's fine.
Only bugs, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
What do they do? Bite?
They bite. They attach. They suck blood. They're like mites. They do what they do.
Or like ticks?
Ticks, yes. Mites and ticks, yes. And then it's an arachnid.
Blood sucking.
Yeah.
A blood-sucking arachnid. It's great. It sounds like a bad movie that based on a Robert Heinlein book. So anyway, okay.
And on that note,
I'll see you on the other end of my trip. Wish us luck.
Yeah, good luck, my friend. Enjoy the drive.
Thank you.
I love American road trips. Yeah. Just think it's the best.
Okay. Well, actually, I'll be
American
closer
road
to
trips.
you now,
yeah.
Right?
You'll be the time zone closer, right? You'll be in the central time zone.
Closer, yeah.
Very cool.
Those are big, long drives, but anyway. Okay. All right, everybody. See you in a couple of weeks. And Ward, thanks for joining us. And
always a pleasure.
Excuse me. And everybody have a great night, and see you in a couple of weeks.
So you all packed up? You're all ready to step out the door?
Don't say.
It's laughing and laughing.
You like to make fun of me, don't you?
No, it's a legitimate...
I'm all packed up. Yeah. Everything's just peachy. Oh, it's so wonderful. Moving. You know what? Moving on my Yelp review. I give it 1 star. Do not recommend.
I'd give it 0 if I could. Yeah.
I guess they won't let me review it with a 0. Yes, moving 1 star. Do not recommend.
Yeah.
Packed up. You're very funny. You're a regular comedian here.
A regular comedian over here.
Yes. Am I all packed up? Boy. Yeah. Well, it's...